Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back to the line and we are going into the program right now. It's all about information night right here on 93.5, right here with Avril and Joe. And we are going into the program. We're going to be talking with our Bronx Borough President, Ruben Diaz Jr. And we have to say Junior because there is a senior. So let's find out if he's here with us. Good evening, Borough President.
Hey, Avril, good evening to you, to Joe, and all your listeners. Good to be back.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Well, you got to be well because you're not 62, but you are included in the 62. But, you know, we're going to tell Joe what the 62 in the Bronx is all about because Joe might think it's the age. But we got to let him know that we're practicing good health, we're preaching good health, and we are showing people how to take care of our health. And he wants to look like you one day, so maybe you could tell him a little thing. But before you do that, we're going to talk about what's going on in the Bronx, what's coming next in the Bronx, and I talking to the Bronx Borough President or the mayor or someone different, but man, I'm seeing you all over, and I don't know what we're going to do with you. Sooner or later, we got to put you in a different position. But welcome back to the Avril Show.
Thank you. Don't kick me out yet. I love the job that I'm doing. We're all working together. We're making the Bronx better. And we just want to make sure that Bronx types are healthy. That's the reason why we have the hashtag Not52 social media campaign. Joe, we want you to be healthy. It doesn't matter how you look, as long as what matters most is how you feel. And we want people to be nice and healthy, eat right, exercise, and go on social media and go to hashtag Not52. And that's when you get many Bronxites and other New Yorkers who are putting videos and putting recipes and exercise tips so that we can all, you know, just live a healthier lifestyle. And it's all about promoting well-being.
All right, so it's hashtag 62.
Not 62. And the reason why it's hashtag not 62 is because, there are 62 counties in New York State. And unfortunately, since I've been the borough president, we've been doing a lot of good things that we're going to talk about in the show. The one area that I cannot really brag about is that area of health. So whenever they do a study, every year we have been number 62. In other words, we've been in last place as it relates to health indicators. So that's the reason why we came up with hashtag not 62, so that we're no longer 62, so that we're no longer in last place.
All right, so what are we going to do about that? Because we don't want to be at the top when it comes to bad health. We want to be in a different bracket. So, I mean, how do you think we can get back to that?
We have to do several things. A, we got to fight back President Trump's and Washington attack on the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare. If that goes through and if they change it completely, you have the potential of 300,000 plus Bronxites losing coverage. We want to make sure that people have their medical coverage so that they can go to the doctor and continue to get the services and the attention that they need. We need people to be able to have affordable, healthy food available to them. That's the reason whenever we have development, we make sure that to the best of our ability we get them to have retail in their development when they do residential, to participate in the city programs so that they can have healthy foods and grocery stores. It's the reason why we promote our farmers markets. It's the reason why we push for people being able to purchase groceries online with their EBT cards. We are now one of only a handful of states who are part of the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture's pilot program to have people be able to purchase healthy vegetables and fruits online. So we do a number of things. We also, from my office, we have the CAN initiative, Changing Attitudes Now, where we, educate people as to what they can do to exercise, what they can do to prepare their foods better. We go out there with different organizations. We're in supermarkets, teaching people not only to buy healthy foods, but how to prepare them And then we also have a social media campaign so that we can all do so together.
Okay, and we know that we just had the Ball of the Bronx, and you shared so much great information in the things that you're doing for the Bronx, for New York City. I don't say the Bronx, and we're not kicking you out as a borough president because we want you, but we still want to move you higher if we can. But in the meantime, you did the Ball of the Bronx, and I know some people might have missed it, but what is some of the things that is coming to the Bronx? Because I was telling Joe about our sushi place that we have here in the Bronx now.
Well, we talked about what there were a couple of things that we did. For the listeners, let's just back up a little bit. We did the State of the Borough address. We do that every year. It's the opportunity for me to talk about what we want to do the coming year, and usually, I also take the opportunity to be able to sort of highlight what accomplishments we were able to achieve from the things that I talked about the year previously. So, for instance, last year, we said we would join and make our voices be heard for the increase of minimum wage. We did that. We said that we would have EBT card holders be able to purchase online groceries. We did that. We fought strong so that we can have tenants get the legal representation when a landlord takes them to court. We were able to achieve that. In terms of projects, we said we were going to start the conversation about how do we repair the pavilion in Orchard Beach. We were able to get every level of government to come together, and now we have $50 million, which is a good start to redo Orchard Beach. And then this year, what we said we would do is we are going to continue to fight so that the Jerome Avenue corridor, it's going to be rezoned. We have to protect the businesses, namely the auto workers in that area. We got to protect many of the residents from being displaced. We offered our thoughts and ideas as to what can happen by platforming Port Morris, which is in the South Bronx, near the sushi place that you're talking about. It's called CK's on Alexander Avenue, and I love sushi as well. So for everyone who's listening, go to CK's and tell Amir that the borough president sent you.
Okay, I'm going to make sure that I send Joe.
Yeah, but we thought I believe that this is a perfect location where we platform over the Harlem Rail Yard to have affordable housing, to have waterfront access, to create green space and recreational facilities, and even the potential of having an incubator there for biotech and other amenities, and so. It was just a great way for me to sort of put forth a vision for our borough over the next couple of years.
And we see the Bronx are really moving and coming, and we see co-op cities are also moving ahead. And I understand that JCPenney is going to many places. There's some closing, but we didn't say they're closing.
Wait a minute there, I heard you say that. What do you mean that JCPenney's is closing?
Well, we heard that there's some of the JCPenney stores closing, so we want to make sure we're not losing the one in the Bronx.
No. Please, and that's why I love your show, so that we can put right information out there and educate the public. JCPenney's is not closing, not as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, great.
Doing well. What we want to make sure is that across from the highway, I guess what you've been hearing is across from the highway, you have the Interstate 95 and the old golf driving range, which is property owned by the MTA. It was, they had an RFP, which is a request for proposal, and somebody won the RFP, and they're going to have some senior housing there and more retail, but we want to make sure that we do it in a way where it's not hurting the current mall. So we don't want the current mall to shut down, we don't want stores. We want everybody to flourish. We want to be able to continue with the amount of volume that the mall is getting in Bay Plaza, and at the same time, we got to continue to develop in that area. And there's going to be some retail, but we don't want there to be something that hurts the retail inside the mall. But with regards to JCPenney's, I don't, unless you have information that I don't, Avril, J.C. Penney and Macy's are going strong right there in the Bay Plaza Mall.
Okay, great. So we clear that one because, when you hear the rumors that JCPenney's are closing stores, we want to make sure that the people are aware that it's not the JCPenney in Co-op City. Joe, did you hear that JCPenney's closing stores?
Not they're closing stores, but one in Co-op City is the number one revenue store in America, in the nation. The only one that beats it is the one in Puerto Rico. That's it. So if they're going to close, yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry to cut you off, Joe,
right.
but when you look at Macy's, J.C.Penney's, Target, BJ's, all of those stores, all of those chains that are in the Bronx are one of the best. They all like the top 3 of those chains in the entire country, not just the city or the state, but in the whole country.
Oh, well, that sounds good.
How vibrant and how solid our local economy is.
That's good news. But while we're on business, Mr. President, that the malls and stuff, they come and most of these stores are subsidized by the chain stores and stuff like that coming straight from Wall Street. But how about creating some kind of space and stuff for, let's say, little mama and papas or maybe a Spanish or a West Indian restaurant to actually come in these malls and stuff that they bring in the Bronx?
We do that, and we have many conversations. In fact, a couple of them, if you look at the Bay Plaza Mall from the place where you do the eyebrows, upstairs on the 3rd floor, and throughout the Bronx Over Economic Development Corporation works every year to help finance, to give microloans, to be able to help people. We bring in the federal government, the SBA, the Small Business Administration, to come in and coach people on how to do a business plan. We give them the necessary financing to help them out. We have incubators, such as the one in the Bank Note Building, with the Sunshine incubators, where folks can do shared spacing. We're going to do more of that around Port Morris because a lot of these small businesses cannot afford rent, so we want them to share space until they grow and can become sustain, and they can go out on their own. So we do it a lot because we know that small businesses are really the driving force in our economy. And so, in Bay Plaza or in major strips like the Hub or Fordham, we've been instrumental in making sure that these business improvement districts are formed. And also, we've been doing all that we can to support those bids, whether it's in Belmont, whether it's on Tremont Avenue, Southern Boulevard, on Jerome. The list goes on and on and on. So we're trying very hard. In fact, if you look at one of the areas where we're doing that actively right now, surveying them and making sure that they hold strong, is across the street from the Kingsbridge National Ice Center or the Armory.
And what about, we also have come in, we talk about the Metronaut that is coming to Co-op City.
Yeah, that's one of 4 Metro North stations that we were able to convince the state to finance. This is a proposal that has been thrown around for decades. A few years ago, I proposed it again. The governor was gracious enough to work with his legislature, with Assemblyman Carr Hasty and the Assembly delegation and the Senate. They financed over $1 billion to construct these 4 stations. We're looking forward to them. Construction is going to start soon. For the most part, the tracks are there. They got to reconfigure the tracks a little bit so that trains can get in and out of the station. But we will not be able to fully run these until the LIRR gets space in the East Side Access or Grand Central Station. Because currently the LIRR, people from Long Island, they come into Manhattan, but they stop in Penn Station. In order for us to be able to run these trains, we would need access to Penn Station. So we need to wait is for LIRR to get their slots in Grand Central Station, and then give up some of the slots in Penn Station so we can go in. That won't happen, Avril, till about 2021, 2022.
Oh,
But
okay.
in the interim, you will start to see the construction of the 4 Metro North stations.
Okay, so and you know, one of the biggest concern that the people here have in New York, let's say New York, because you're not just about the Bronx, you're all over. So the concern the people are having is this immigration issue, and the people are hearing that ICE is picking people up, and people are walking around with fear, and you know. So what about a little touch in that? What can you tell us about that?
I know that I've been vocal about this. We've had press conferences and with Congressman Adriano Espaillat. We've been talking about this with the state, with the city. I'm glad that New York City is a sanctuary city, so people should realize that the NYPD is not cooperating with ICE, is not out there to get people deported. When we speak about people being deported, I don't think that anybody is against violent criminals who are undocumented being taken and sent back to their countries. But what we want to defend and what we're protecting are folks who are law-abiding, who are undocumented, who have been able to start a family here, and their kids are U.S. citizens. And now, all of a sudden, because of the vitriol, because of the message, the hateful message that we're hearing from President Trump and out of D.C., people are anxious, they are afraid, and we hear it all the time. And now it's time for all of us to step up and say, you know what? The Bronx, New York City, and the state of New York is better because of the immigrant population. Immigrants contribute to our economy. They're professionals. They, I think, have done one of the boldest things that anyone could do, which is leave everything behind in their country in pursuit of a better future for their families. And for somebody to attack that, especially when all of us, unless we're Native Americans, all of us are descendants of immigrants. In my State of the Borough address, I spoke about specific individuals who have done so much to make the Bronx better, New York better, who are immigrants. And I don't know where we would be without individuals like that. So I'm going to continue to be a strong voice. I'm going to continue to be an advocate. I'm going to continue to do all that I can and work with my colleagues in government. And I'm so proud that at least from here in the state of New York, from the governor on down, that everyone has really come and rallied together to tell our immigrants, you know what, we represent you, we appreciate you, and we're going to do everything that we can in order to protect your rights.
That's what we're talking about. And if you're just joining in, we're talking to our very own, our Bronx Borough President, Ruben Diaz Jr., for those who are just tuning in. And we're talking about different things that is happening, things you're hearing about. We talk about the Macy's stores, the JCPenney stores, and you heard it here. We're doing great here in the Bronx. JCPenney's not going anywhere right here in our Bronx Borough. And, you know, we talk, and I like when Joe called you the president. Joe said, Mr. President. You know, it's some things that we're putting on you here tonight, but hey, you never know. So we got to claim it. We got to believe it and claim it. So Joe called you president, I call you mayor, and we don't know, but right here on the Avril Show, we bring you the information, and we like when people can hear it from your mouth and know that you're representing the people. We got to thank people like Mr. Carly Hasty, the Speaker of the House, Marcos Crespo, and all these great leaders that are working together to make sure that the people of the Bronx, and I know I see you with the Brooklyn Borough President, the Queens President, so you're all over getting things done for the people of New York, and that's a great look.
Not only make your borough better, but make the city better by working with as many people as you can, establishing those relationships, that level of respect at every level of government. So whether it's working with the congressional delegation to bring in federal resources, to get the USDA to have allow for online grocery shopping with the EBT card, or getting the governor and the state legislature to do everything from raising the minimum wage, to put more money in the pockets of our working folks, to finding millions of dollars to restore the historic Orchard Beach, to working with the city council to passed Intro 214 to allow for legal representation for the tenants, and working with the borough presidents to make sure that we get Wi-Fi kiosks, not only in our borough but throughout the city, to getting city bikes to respond to Staten Island and the Bronx. So all of these things is, at every level. These are all the relationships that we have to take advantage of in order to better the lives of Bronxites, to better the Bronx, and therefore better New York.
Thank you so much, Borough President. And you know, it's been a while, and when I come to your office and sit in that big chair, it makes me feel like I don't have to run for office. Just sit in the chair and you're comfortable enough. And there is no way I can run for office. I gotta stand next to the politicians like yourself. So there's no room for me in politics. But
you have a strong voice with the radio. You educate the public, and you don't have to be an elected official. And I'm not just talking to you, I'm speaking to everyone who's listening, in order to be involved in politics. The fact is that if nothing else, what Donald Trump, with his rhetoric, with his divisiveness, what he has, I hope, done to a lot of folks, and many more, is that he has wakened people up to feel like they have to get involved. When you look at the civil rights movement, the reason why we were able to gain so many victories is because everyday folks got involved, and they protested, and they rallied, and they paid attention. And so I'm seeing more and more. I think that's the silver lining, Avril, is that, being that there's this assault on women and Muslims and immigrants and Latinos coming out of D.C. in the White House, everybody's breaking out of their little silos and coming together, and whether they're elected officials, activists, or just average, people from inner communities and throughout the city of New York, people are getting involved in politics, and that's always a good thing. It shows the strength of this democracy, our Constitution, and how it is going to persevere regardless of whatever individual is sitting in the White House.
Thank you so much, Borough President. You couldn't hear it better from... no, you couldn't hear it better from me. Joe and I couldn't do what you do, so that's why we have to make sure that we get it from our leaders. I can't ask Joe to speak your language because he can't do that. So we always thank you for being a part of this program and bringing the information. And who's missing tonight is our, Mr. Hugh Campbell. He sits here every Monday and bring the information. He's also a great support to this program. We thank him for that. So make sure that you know that Marcus and Carl and everybody as the Speaker of the House and everyone else out there, we thank you guys so much for what you're doing. I don't know when you sleep, but when I'm thinking you're sleeping, I see you at the gym working out. So thank for encouraging people like myself for getting involved. And we got to invite you to one of our Women's Night, that we want you to come out and support and be a part of this women movement that we have here going in the Bronx. But I'll give you more information on that. And we want you to come and encourage us as women, so we could also encourage the men to get involved with Not So 62.
Yep. Hashtag Not 62. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Borough President. And it's always a pleasure, and you have a great night.
All right, good night, sir.